Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. I talk to people in city government, the school system, and also lately in 22 we've done the shows on businesses in the Wadsworth community. Here we're on location. We're very pleased to have Lisa Hale with us.
Hello.
And also Jim Mohr. And we're going to talk about Meals on Wheels. We're on location, Trinity United Church of Christ, 215 High Street. And Jim, you're the president of the board of people looking after Meals on Wheels. What are the responsibility of the board?
Well, we each kind of have our assignment, and one board member is responsible for getting the drivers and the
Helpers
Well,
to make the meals?
I do that part.
Yeah, she does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a treasurer, we have a secretary, and I'm maybe a troubleshooter, and yeah, we all have our responsibilities.
Well, that's a good way to do it. You kind of divvy things up a little bit.
That's the way you choose board members.
That's true. That's true. Kind of unique day today. Wadsworth City Schools canceled, and I guess it's your policy when the schools are not in session, Meals on Wheels is not in operation.
We don't want to take more risks than the school people do. And for instance, I've been a driver to deliver food for 30 years maybe, and at my age, I came out today, but it's not my cup of tea.
Right, no question about it.
And, you know, I'd like to say that a lot of our clients and our drivers are a similar age as Jim. So, you know, with our clients being homebound, a lot of them, they're not going out and shoveling pathways for our drivers to come and deliver a meal. And some of the driveways that our clients have are maybe a little steep, maybe a little rough to maneuver, and that's just one extra obstacle we really don't want our drivers to have.
No
either.
question about it. It's really looking at the safe side for everyone
exactly
involved. Jim, how long has Meals on Wheels been here at Trinity Church?
Well, Meals on Wheels didn't start at Trinity. As I wasn't around at that time because it was almost 50 years ago. It started with a need in town to help the elderly. I think in this particular project, the Kiwanis Club said, hey, we got to do something for the elderly in our community. And some people got together with them and said, well, how about Meals on Wheels for the elderly who are shut in or after surgery or something for temporary, you know, they can't get around the kitchen, they can't, yeah. So the way it's, I have an initial publicity,
Okay.
which I think it may have been the first piece of publicity that went out.
That's interesting.
And it'll tell us something about it. It says, a group of Wadsworth citizens have been meeting to consider offering Meals on Wheels program. The program would offer one hot meal each day, 5 days a week. Hey, it's still that way now.
Yep.
Okay.
So that way.
The meals will be prepared by Kleckner's Restaurant. You remember that restaurant?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And will cost $2 per meal.
Now, we've only went up $2 since 1975.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that for the whole week, the charge to the people would be $20?
That's exactly right.
Wow, that's just unbelievable.
That's very affordable.
Yeah, I think even the schools, you know, try to really keep the prices down, and that's really competitive what they can do as well. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I'll continue.
Okay.
This is fun reading.
Yes, it is.
This service will be offered to senior citizens or disabled residents of Wadsworth City and Township. Still, we have a 2-mile radius that we say we stop here. It is hoped to be started by May 1st, 1975 or sooner.
Wow.
So it's 1975. So
Wow.
we're coming close to the 50-year anniversary. Then, the group is hoping for financial aid from service clubs, churches, and individuals. We have coolers to buy, other expenses, and then a way to support this. But clubs, churches, individuals. About the only thing we add to that is now some industry also help us. So, yeah, so a lot of things that they had in mind early on, we're still doing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Really, you can trace your roots back that far, and we'll have to have a big celebration, have a big,
The 50 year?
big show, big activity. WCTV will have to honor you for the 50 years. That's a lot of groups. Are there for a few years, and they fade into the sunset.
And that almost happened with Meals on Wheels too, because Kleckner's. I think at the beginning, there wasn't a lot of publicity, so there were maybe 5, 6, 7, and it would go up and down. Even for a week, there was only one person. And Kleckner said, "I can't do this for $2 and have the variety that you want. I can't do it."
Yeah.
And so that's when we came to Trinity. Said Trinity was available. But they weren't ready yet, so there was about a 2-3 week interval where the ladies who had set this up cooked in their home and delivered it until this was ready. Then we came here.
It's very, very interesting facts indeed. Very, very
Well, I
great
hope
to
they're
hear.
facts. I wasn't here. I'm taking reports that we have, scanty as they are. Yeah.
And it really wasn't this kitchen that they came into.
Oh no.
No. This kitchen was refurbished 30 years ago when Rhonda Richards, my predecessor, came on board.
Yeah.
The kitchen that those ladies worked in was a little bigger than this table. That was it, that they were making those meals for the residents, for Meals on Wheels.
I didn't know that.
And we were blessed to have Rhonda come in because she had worked in senior centers and nursing homes, so she understood the layout of what we would need for Meals on Wheels. And honestly, this kitchen is a jewel compared to a lot of different church kitchens. A lot of church kitchens don't have the amenities that this kitchen does. And it really, truly affords us to serve our meals and run everything very smoothly with enough space and everything for my volunteers to work. And especially even during COVID when we needed to be, distanced. There's enough space in this kitchen if you're masked to be socially distanced. And, the volunteers didn't necessarily feel overly nervous about coming in and continuing serving people as we did even through the pandemic.
Lisa, how long have you been the manager here for Meals on Wheels?
So I've been the manager here since March. It'll be 2 years this year. So what is this? This is 23 March of 2021.
Okay, right? Okay, that's really,
Yes.
you really had to be nimble and flexible. And one thing,
it was, jump in, let's do this.
one thing I want to ask you, with the prices of food and also the lack of some of the vegetables and fruits you probably work with, how do you do it? How you really have to plan ahead, I would imagine.
Yeah, I plan my menus about a month in advance. And then I go based on that every other week. I do ordering. So twice a month we get our orders in. Sometimes I don't get what I need. So you just have to pivot. And, I'm fortunate enough that I kind of plan in advance that I have enough other alternatives back there in our pantry area and our freezers that we make it work. I've never been horribly out of luck or stressed. And, my distributors that we receive our food from, they really try to go above and beyond in helping me to make sure that we get what we need. So it's been okay. We really haven't, one thing that we can't really seem to get, wax beans. Can't get wax beans. I don't know what happened to wax beans for 3-bean salad. And pudding. Can't get pudding. But overall, if I'm used to getting Pillsbury dinner rolls, we just switch and we do a different brand, and it works out very well.
Being a licensed dietitian, that you probably get some of your educational background. It really probably assists you so much.
Yeah. As far as menu planning and stuff, it definitely helps to have that always in the back of my mind to make sure that our meals are going to be balanced and that our clients get a good variety of different foods. We serve anything from hot meals like meatloaf and mashed potatoes, which I know are more of a comfort food for our clients, beef stew, all those kind of good things. But then I like to sprinkle in salads and soups and even breakfasts once in a while because I think we all need a little bit of variety. I would get sick of the same meal every couple weeks. So I think our clients do appreciate the fact that there is a good variety of different foods.
I got
And
eggs the other
balance.
day at Acme and Norton, and boy, those prices, eggs, probably once in a while you might have eggs. Boy, have they really
Yes.
gone up.
Yeah, we really don't use eggs very often. Like I said, I do serve, breakfast occasionally once in a while, but it's like a once a month kind
Okay,
of thing
okay.
where we'll serve eggs. And, we are so very blessed from all the people who donate to our program that allow us to have that ability to purchase the foods that we still do without feeling the pinch. Now, do I go crazy and above and beyond and get extra stuff? No, absolutely not. I really do try to save, but we haven't had that much of a difficulty.
Jim, you mentioned earlier about the people originally with the program starting about 50 years ago. It really was centered on a few senior citizens in town. We know Wadsworth has a lot of senior citizens. They like to stay in their homes.
Yeah.
What is the eligibility? What must someone do to get on the list to get meals delivered?
It's easier than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody who thinks they need it can sign up.
Yep.
Depending on is age a requirement?
No, no. Ability to make your own meals is the thing. If you can't do it, or home from the hospital, and
Yeah.
that's no age, no income. I mean, the millionaire gets the same thing as the poverty-stricken person, and pay the same thing.
We've even been used for clients. I've had a few clients who call in, say her husband isn't as well at home as she is, but she needs to go away for 2 weeks for something.
Yeah.
And she'll sign up for our services just for those 2 weeks to deliver meals to her husband. Now, we deliver a hot meal, but the other thing that we offer is they're getting checked in once a day. So she knows that her husband is okay, because if, for example, his meal from yesterday was in the cooler, our driver will notice. First thing that they do is they'll call that client, because we have their numbers on their driver sheets. If they can't get a hold of them, then when they come back to our kitchen, I'll call the client, and if I still can't get a hold of them, then I call what we call an emergency contact. It could be a neighbor that they're close with, a friend, it could be a spouse, it could be daughters, family, or whatever. And I'll have them do a well check on that client. So it allows people to stay home for just a little bit longer. And gives them that independence.
We hear stories about the postmen, the people that walk and
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
Well, usually they are greeted, and for a couple days the mail piles up, and that's really a sign that something may be out
Yep.
of sorts.
That's exactly right. And our drivers, they may have the same route. So Jim drives for Route 4, so he gets to know his clients a little bit. So if he notices that the newspaper is out on the patio and there's 2 of them piled up, but the meals are gone, and that's just the way Mrs. Smith is. He's not going to worry about that as much.
May I say?
Sure.
Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
things were wonderful. I've delivered meals since I retired about 17, almost 20 years ago. You used to knock on the door or ring the doorbell. They would come. You'd give it to them. And you saw how they were dressed and everything, and are things okay? You could tell. And you got used to these clients.
Yeah.
You knew who they were.
You befriended them in a sense.
Sometimes you'd knock on the door, come in. I'd say, meals on wheels. They'd say, come in. And you deliver it right to their table, or sometimes right to their bedside.
Yeah.
And you knew what was going on, and you could report back if something looked a little suspicious, or So that was a great comfort to them and their responsible other.
Jim, why don't we get in for a minute? Who are some of your drivers, since you have the experience up close and personal, delivering for years? Who else might help Meals on Wheels, delivering meals?
Well,
Oh, don't ask me.
she sees them come in every day, but what I see are women in the summer, maybe taking a daughter or son along to experience this with them. Mm-hmm. I like that very much. Most people are probably retired and still want to do something, and they may be older than the clients that they serve. But, you know, yeah, anybody who has a good driving record can do
And who
this.
is willing.
And willing, yeah.
But you know, something that we need to consider is that if you want to be a driver, it's not signing up to be a driver every week or every
No.
day. If you want to volunteer for just once a month, and you know, it's the same in my kitchen too. If you can only do once a month,
Yeah.
that's okay. We will take you. Absolutely.
So we can tell our viewing audience that if they're interested in possibly driving, depending on the time of year, now, Jim, I would imagine that some of the senior citizens may have taken a little reprieve and gone to Florida for a little bit. So really the pressure is on Meals on Wheels to get substitute drivers.
And substitute clients.
I'm going to Florida next week.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah. But I've arranged with another couple in our church. When I'm gone, they do it. So that's covered, you know. But sometimes we have to get winter drivers.
You know, we touched on the physical nature of knowing that something may be a little bit off. You know, we want to make sure that everything is okay. But also, Jim, the mental, since you're a retired minister, this is right down your alley. The mental aspect of someone, you know, being there, and someone caring for them, someone looking after them, has got to be really positive for those people.
Yeah, pre-COVID especially, but then COVID, you know, COVID, I didn't see these people anymore. They were all to have a cooler out in front of their door. We simply put it in the cooler. They came and got it later. I hope we can get beyond that again sometime soon. I'm not sure we're ready yet, but sometime I hope we can have more in touch. But still, they can count on a meal, a hot meal, you know, and when you can't get around, can't do much, a meal is pretty important.
You know, and for some of our clients, it could be the meal they eat that day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's incredibly important.
You can't live on
Now-
bread alone.
As Jim was referencing, we do still do a contact-free delivery system. So we are still delivering to coolers outside the client's doors. Now, I really feel like some of our drivers still do actually interact. And right at this moment, it's based on what the client's comfortability, are they comfortable with it? And are the drivers comfortable with it? So some drivers still really prefer to have, we're just going to drop it in the cooler. Other drivers will communicate and talk with our clients. But now it's just a kind of a blend of that at the moment.
You know, you mentioned a couple minutes ago, Lisa, about your distributors of food. Could you mention some of those individuals and some of those corporations? I think it's really nice to know who's really behind Meals on Wheels.
I'll give first names.
Okay, sure.
So my one guy from Beaver Meats, his name is Dan.
Okay, sure.
He really does. He goes above and beyond. Say, for example, I want something and he's looking in his inventory list and he finds we don't have it. He's like, but I'm going to Restaurant Depot, which is in Akron. He's like, I'll look there too. And if they have it, I'll pick it up for you. And he does that fairly often for us, which he does not have to do, but he does it. And then my other girl, her name is Christina. She works for Atlantic. Now, I've been working with her, I think, for about 6 months or so now. She's absolutely lovely as well. If they don't have something, if we didn't get it on the truck, she's like, I'll be there next Tuesday. Is that okay? And since I plan enough in advance for my meals, I'm like, that's absolutely fine. And she will personally come and deliver whatever we were missing. So I am very blessed. I can talk with them on a almost informal, casual, you know, type of relationship, but they're just very nice and very welcoming. And they do the best that they can to help us.
That camaraderie really has to make you feel good that they're really going out of their way. They're really looking forward to helping out as best they could with the Meals on Wheels.
And you know, I mean, compared to the other clients, they're serving restaurants. Ours is a small tab for them, you know, but they still go above and beyond and treat us the same as they would anybody else, which is very appreciated.
So you mentioned a few, Jim, you mentioned you're on Route 4. How many routes do you have? How many people do you serve on a daily, except today, again, the schools aren't in session, we're
Yeah.
not serving today.
Yeah.
How many would you serve, let's say, tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is a Tuesday, and this is good for people to know too. We have two options of delivery. We either deliver Monday through Friday, so that would be 5 days a week, and then we do offer a Monday, Wednesday, Friday option. Now, a lot of our clients, it could be due to financial reasons. It could be that maybe they have doctor's appointments that they need to go to, so they might pick that Monday, Wednesday, Friday service, which means on Tuesdays and Thursdays, our count is lower. So our count's in the 40s on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then it's around 55 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which means we have openings if anyone is interested. Comfortably, we can serve about 70 meals a day.
So that means, again, if someone, again, has a hospital stay, they could go ahead and sign up, and
Yep.
it would take maybe a week to get...
Not even.
Oh,
No,
you're kidding. That's
no,
quick turnaround.
if we have an opening and they
Right,
call today,
right.
I can get them started tomorrow.
Wow.
There's no wait. There's no
Okay,
wait.
well, that-
As long as their route isn't full. So the way that we do things is if our route has 14 clients, that's the maximum amount that we, expect our drivers to deliver. If that route is full, a lot of times I really try to move people around on the routes because I really do not like saying no. I really want to feed people, believe me. If I can't move them around, I would put them on a waiting list until an opening happens. But honestly, in the 2 years that I've been here, I've been able to manage to rearrange routes, and I haven't put anyone on a list.
Jim, what about Lisa Hale, our manager currently? She is unbelievable, isn't she?
She is, and it's hard to find a person like that. Are you full-time?
No.
No, see, part-time,
Yes.
doing a full-time job almost, because you're thinking when you're at home, it's kind of like the pastorate. But as a pastor, I could have 3 good sermons a month and 1 bummer and get away with it. She can't get away with 1 meal in a month and not get complaints, see? So wonderful.
Thank
She,
you.
she does her best.
Jim, you're modest. I'm sure that 4th sermon was very good as well.
Exactly.
And
It always reaches at least one person.
Well, hopefully.
And I also
It
have
reaches
to
me.
I also have to mention that I picked up a brochure on the front page is an article about Meals on Wheels linking up with Medina County.
Yeah.
And even I have a schedule here of through the month of February, you filled a very important void.
Yes.
That there was really a real need to expand feeding people in the Wadsworth area.
That's right.
Tell us about how that
So
happened.
what happened is the food vendor, I don't know all of the details,
Right.
but from what I know is the food vendor at Suprema Senior Center wasn't able to continue feeding clients in their kitchen area. And it just so happened that one of my volunteers, Amy, she's lovely, hi Amy, she works for the senior center, and she's like, so would Meals on Wheels be interested in maybe feeding us too? So I told them I can do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Since we have less clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I could easily fill that space without necessarily burdening our kitchen staff and our drivers. And we've been doing that since November. First, it was supposed to be just November and December. And then it turned into, can you do January too? And then it turned into, what about February? This is it. And it's fine, honestly. It is no problem with me. I enjoy feeding anyone that I can possibly feed. So it's been great. And Amy and Lori and everyone there has been overly appreciative. Like, they let us know very often that they really do appreciate us helping them out. And that's all I can ask.
So it's because of the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule that Tuesday, Thursday you're a little bit lighter,
Yes.
and so then you can go ahead.
Yes.
And how many meals would you prepare for
On
Medina County?
On average for the senior center, we're doing about 20 extra meals
Okay,
those
okay, wow.
days. Yeah.
So you really be pressing 100 if you have that schedule where you have 70. You could be really quite high with number of meals.
Yeah, it wouldn't get there though.
Okay.
I made sure of it, that we would stick within what we could comfortably do. And honestly, I couldn't do any more anyway. And this is something I actually learned through this process, is I don't have the freezer space to feed 100 people
Right,
a day.
right.
I have the freezer space to feed 70 people maybe a day. And that's I got 4 freezers back there, really, to feed, you know, all of that. So it was a lesson learned for me, too, because I was like, I want to feed more people. But you know what? I got to work within my limits and my abilities.
You talked about Amy Rook-Smith, an old friend of mine. She used to babysit my daughters, believe it or not, a long time ago. How do you recruit workers to help you? Because you can't do all this, although Jim says you're the Wonder Woman, you can't whip up all those meals and get them ready for the drivers at one time. You have helpers.
I do. And you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my kitchen assistant, Sue Sherba. She helps me immensely. So if I need to be off for one of my kids who are sick, or, I do get some time off, Sue comes in and she takes care of that. But she also volunteers regularly every single month. She volunteers at least 7 days, sometimes more. If a volunteer calls off and I need to fill in that space, she'll come in and she'll cover for them. And she's the dessert lady. So for everyone who loves the desserts, 7 days of the month, she's the one making the fancy ones, I'll be honest, because she loves to do that. As far as our volunteers, they can just call in, and we have a couple openings at this moment. I manage about 10 volunteers at the moment, and it's the same as the drivers. So the way it would be for volunteers is, say I had an opening on the second Tuesday of the month. Well, they could come in and they would work on that second Tuesday of the month, and that would be when they were expected. I wouldn't count on dates or anything like that. So the volunteers have to keep track of the calendar, and as long as they remember their day, they just come in, and it's a wonderful service. I am so blessed to be able to work with volunteers because they want to be here. It's significantly different than having to work with employees who come in because they have to be here, they have to earn money. I work with people who truly love service, and I couldn't ask for better.
What's that number? Speaking of Jim, maybe someone's calling right now to help. What's that number that they could call to help? 330-335-6156. And I'm here anywhere between 9 and 12. Sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier, but you can definitely hit me at in those hours. And if you missed me, just leave a voicemail and I'll call you back. Jim and our little Lisa, dropped blank there. I learned a lot today. I learned a lot about Meals on Wheels, its history, who it serves, and also all the things that people appreciate with the program. And I really appreciate you viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we will have another show next week.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.